has been done.
Good afternoon, or rather good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. And we are very pleased to be able to welcome those of you that have been with us for a long time now, and as well as those who are new to OMPEG, or probably this is your first event. So special welcome to all of you. And welcome to this new series by OMPEG. For those who have joined us for the first time, OMPEG stands for Overseas Maharashtrians Professionals and Entrepreneurs Group. Before I go any further about our organization, we would like to do a very quick and short poll. You need to pick the answer that first comes in your mind, okay? And the question will be visible slightly longer than what Usain Bolt takes to complete his 100 meters, and that is only for 10 seconds. Ani, over to you.
The poll is launched.
Please do exercise your vote ASAP. There are 3 questions, so if you want to scroll down, please do so.
Going little over Usain Bolt because I think people are taking time.
Maybe he's running 200 meters instead of 100.
It's happening now. Last 8 seconds. I'll close the poll now soon. Two, 3, 4. Okay, closing poll in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Ani. So we have got 57% OMPEG fee paying members. So welcome again, guys. Thank you for all your continuous support. And right, we have got 20% people who are first time OMPEG events. So special welcome from all of us OMPEGians, and hopefully we would continue to see you in our subsequent events. Looks like, where did you hear first about this OMPEG? So looks like WhatsApp is a clear runner out there, a clear winner out there. Oh, no, sorry. A word of mouth is there as well. So that's good. That's really good that, we all share our events. Facebook, well, and LinkedIn and Twitter have not even opened their accounts. Need to think about it. And then the last one, what's the main purpose to attend this event? I want to learn from experiences of others. Absolutely, absolutely. That's our aim and goal. So let's look for that. Great stuff. Thank you, Ani, for this, and Prerna. Now, about OMPEG. If you can go on the OMPEG slide. As mentioned earlier, guys, OMPEG stands for the Overseas Maharashtrian Professionals and Entrepreneurs Group. We started in April 2016, and just to stress that we are the only business networking group in the UK for Maharashtrians. It is run purely on a voluntary basis and is a membership organization where the core committee strives to provide good value for money to our fee-paying members. We have over 150 fee-paying members that cover professionals as well as entrepreneurs from variety of businesses. Out of those, we have over 30% women members, and I'm sure we will soon reach 50%. So for those women who are on the cusp of deciding, should I or should I not jump into entrepreneurship, then do feel free to reach out to our current women members who will be more than happy to help you with their real life inspiring stories. All our events have now been attended by over 5,000 people. We have 2 major events in a year. One is our anniversary dinner event where we honor all our high achievers and spend a great time. And the second one is the OMPEX, which is basically a business expo by and for the OMPEGians. We have had 2 so far, and for obvious reason, we had to miss them for this year. But I'm sure we'll have even bigger and better versions of these programs come 2021. So the key to any business group is networking and the useful and tangible connections that one can make through our associates and social media presence. We have over 5,000 people connected. Using these, we have launched many new ventures and collaborations that are currently running successfully. We are also reaching out to wider associations with our business groups. So since 2019-20, we have also collaborated with the High Commission of India, the Business and Economics Wing of the Indian High Commission. We believe in organic growth, and hence we have launched our first chapter in Midlands in August. And we have a very enthusiastic bunch of entrepreneurs and volunteers out there. We do hope that we inspire our Northern Irish, Scottish, and Welsh brothers and sisters and understand and appreciate the importance of entrepreneurs and take the plunge, network, and get the best out of this platform. We have indeed raised our UK Maharashtrian business leadership profile across the country. And just to reiterate, this is the platform by you and for you. Today, we launch our new series of Pathfinders, and here onwards, we will be guided by, assured by, and driven by Reshma, who has been a wonderful mother, successful professional, and is now on a sturdy business venture that has been running successfully now for almost 2 years. Reshma, over to you.
Thank you so much, Sushil. That was a kind introduction. Thank you so much. Apologies, people. I think this, give me a second.
Yeah, no worries.
I think I've been mute for quite a while. I'm not used to not talking for so long.
Take your time.
Neeraj is saying no audio, but I think audio is clear for everyone. Neeraj, please rejoin. Everyone else is getting audio. Okay, Reshma, over to you. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm so sorry for that slight interruption. Once again, thank you so much, Sushil, and a very good evening to all the OMPEGians and all the wider audience. Wish you all a very, very happy Diwali to start with. And thank you so much for being part of this very first episode of the Pathfinder series. Now, what exactly is the Pathfinder series? Allow me a few minutes to explain to you the concept behind the Pathfinder series. One of my very favorite thought lines is that sometimes, and perhaps it is easy to kind of start a venture, to be a daredevil, to start off, to kickstart a venture, to start something new when you are in that phase of passion and pride. I think the gravitas lies in sustaining, surviving, and persevering. It is important to survive. It is important to be able to accept the intended and the unintended consequences. It is important to face the challenges that you were prepared for and some of the challenges that you weren't prepared for. It is important to continue the journey. And this is where it becomes important to get some expert opinion. It is important to garner shared experience. It is important to have conversations. And that is what the Pathfinder series will aim to do. So the COVID-19 situation has undoubtedly affected all of us, affected people, affected businesses, affected many facets of our lives. It has thrown unique challenges and we find ourselves in turbulent times. And hence, once again, it is time to be together, to explore lessons learned and to share knowledge. It is a time to have conversations. Because conversations aid connections, conversations create engagement, conversations spark ideas, and conversations provide experience, expertise, and enterprise. The Pathfinder series will aim to showcase resilience and strength, provide different perspectives, offer practical and strategic support. The series will be an opportunity to understand diverse sector challenges, known and the not so known tricks of the trade, subject-specific expertise, and above all, a platform for OMPEGians to connect, collaborate, and grow. And this is obviously true for all the entrepreneurs, for the professionally employed people, and for those who are professionals in themselves, as in specifically as in doctors. Essentially, what we are trying to say is that there will be something for everyone as we go along the series. Of course, the series will evolve. We will evolve as we go. We will adapt. We will take your feedback, and it might transform. It might continue transforming. However, essentially, we will always have conversations where we will want to share experiences and learn from our mutual experiences and knowledge and the journeys that all of us embark on. I like to call, as if most of you have seen my Facebook post, I have said the Pathfinder series now comprises of the next door businesses and an expert panel. The expert panel today comprises of an accountant, of a very well-established accountant, and a leading tech entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say the businesses next door, I do not for a second intend to trivialize these businesses. I am part of it myself. I am one of the next door businesses. What I meant to say was these businesses are owned by very ordinary people that you and I know and you and I are part of, but with an extraordinary zeal. These probably are businesses who have an employee strength of perhaps none, or between 5 and 10, who perhaps today are not in the range of a Travel Perkins or Morrison's or a JD Sports and Fashions, but definitely intend to be there at some point in time and very quickly. And definitely they are those who have created a niche for themselves in their chosen sectors. Today, we will be speaking with 5 such entrepreneurs representing 5 different sectors. In terms of the format of the show, we have only 4 theme-based questions. We will put this across to all the 5 member panelists, as we call them. Each one of them will answer the question asked. And if they want, they can pose a question or seek clarification from the expert panelists. After each of the 5 panelists have answered the question, we will turn to the experts for their expertise, their views, their observations, and suggestions. We will then pose question 2, and we will follow a similar format until all 4 questions have been asked and answered. Of course, the audience is important, and so are your questions important to us. So what we suggest and what we recommend is, if you have questions whilst our panelists are talking, please type them in the chat box, just as Sushil had explained in terms of if the question is for the expert panel, it'll be an EP. If the question is for the member panel, it was a QP, was it, Sushil? Is that right? Yeah. Okay, that'll be a QP and then the question. So Ravi, who's going to be keeping an eye on these questions and who's going to be collating them, will know who they are to be addressed right at the end of the session, which means at the end of the 4 questions that we will pose to the panelists. Right, I think we are good to start the episode today. I am just trying to see whether I have covered all the points that I am supposed to, and essentially so that the format, the episode, there is ample clarity for the audience in terms of what to expect and what they can do. And I think all the boxes have been ticked. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to quickly introduce the expert panel and our member panels. Very honored and very pleased to present Akshay Shah as one of our expert panelists. Akshay is a chartered certified accountant. His firm, Ace Accounts and Tax, is a boutique accounting firm based in Milton Keynes. This firm supports individuals, small and medium-sized businesses with their tax, accounts, and advisory matters. It comprises of a small and agile team of CAs and tax advisors with the sole aim of providing honest and truthful advice to its clients and to its very many clients, I must say. Outside work, Akshay is an avid cricket fan, loves to travel and make new friends. He has recently taken upon the hobby of cooking, and I have shared cookery with him. Today, we will be looking at Akshay to provide us with help and information and guidance on the various government schemes launched during the COVID and provide expert guidance on tax saving and finance issues during these times. Welcome to Akshay, and thank you so much, Akshay, for being here. We are indeed honored to have you on board.
Really, thank you, Reshma. Thank you for a nice introduction. Look forward to speaking to all.
Thank you, Akshay.
Thank you.
The co-expert panelists with Akshay is Aftab Malhotra. Aftab, or AF, as he is popularly known and he likes to be called, is a leading tech entrepreneur, investor, speaker, and advisor on digital disruption. AF is the co-founder of GrowthEnabler, a disruptive AI tech company, radically changing the way corporations partner with, procure from, and invest in the global digital ecosystem. He's also the founding partner of advisory firm Zone Capital Advisors, advisory board member of Exogenous Inc. Corporation, and research fellow at the Center for the Study of Digital Life, which is a think tank. As chair of a not-for-profit organization called Tech India Advocates, AF actively champions tech trade and innovation between the UK, US, and India. Possibly a lot of you know, AF is a passionate percussionist. He specializes in tabla and has performed at hundreds of shows and festivals over the past 20 years. Today, we look at AF to provide us with inputs as an industry expert with the cap of a think tank member. Thank you so much, AF, for making time. And I know you've just finished one of your talks and you've straight away hopped on to the OMPEG event. Really appreciate your time and thank you so much for being here today. We're very honored.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Looking forward to talking to you.
Brilliant. I now turn to our 5-member panelists. Of course, the one unifying criteria for inviting them on board is that they are all OMPEG members. And yes, that is the most important criteria of being part of Pathfinders. You have to be an OMPEG member. But apart from this, there was also their willingness to represent their sector and speak about their challenges and solutions during the COVID times. In alphabetical order, I'm going to start introducing each one of them to you. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Salil Dhavale, who owns SaGa Reality Limited, that was incorporated in 2019. SaGa Reality purchases, develops, sells, and rents properties. Salil has been into the property business since 2009 and also offers building works, kitchen, and bedroom works. Appreciate that you have decided to spend your time with us here today, Salil, and we look forward to listening to you talk about your particular sector. Our next panelist is Pranoti, who is the managing and creative director of Anigraphics Productions Limited, which was established in 2006. Anigraphics provides a complete range of advertising and marketing services for any brand looking to increase brand and customer loyalty. Thank you so much, Pranoti, for being here today. Our third panelist, Sanjay Rode, has joined us all the way from Nagpur, India. So it's well beyond midnight for him. Thank you so much, Sanjay, for staying awake for us. It's going to be interesting listening to you. As most of you know, Sanjay Rode is from Pioneer Global Services, incorporated in 2009, and offers cloud-based telephone services. Next on the panel is Shaheena Shaikh, who is a fashion designer and founder of Falcon Fashion. She introduced her customized range of fusion clothing in 2018. A pleasure to have you on board, Shaheena. And last but not the least, Harshwardhan Soman, whose name is synonymous with Charuta Entertainments Limited, a leading entertainment company bringing best-in-class theatrical performances, concerts, and dance shows from India to the audience in the UK and Europe. The goal of the company is to establish a production house for high-quality productions and to be a leading movie distributor. Thank you so much, Harsh, for being here today. And once again, I have spoken about Rangamancha with him. So, ladies and gentlemen, time for me to pass on the microphone to our speakers. As I said, I will pose the first question. And once the question is asked, the panelists will take turns to answer the question. So Sushil has already said we have taken off. Possibly what I will say is fasten your seatbelts tighter because we are climbing altitude now. So the first question is based on the theme of finance management, and here it goes. So the COVID-19 situation has undoubtedly affected cash flows. Did you seek support from the government schemes announced in the wake of the pandemic? What was your experience? How was it? How was the ease of information, the access, applications, and disbursement? Was there a particular scheme you found most useful? I invite Salil to go first in answering this question. Over to you, Salil.
Hello everyone, happy Diwali to you and welcome to Pathfinder's first session. In terms of the government schemes, there was bounce back loan and the furlough scheme. Those are the two that I used it, during the COVID period. For the bounce back loan, it was they were pretty much straightforward in terms of access, in terms of getting the loans. It was from the from your bank. You will get an email saying explaining everything, and when the scheme was live, that time you could apply, and it was I would say one of the fastest approval, and the money was actually in the account within 72 hours of applying. And our own, Tushar Gadikar, he actually even assisted in this process, and it was like smooth thing for that. In terms of furlough as well, speaking to my accountant and then arranging it through the accountant. Again, going through, I mean, both these schemes was it was pretty much straightforward process, and I would say in UK, one of the that's countries where we are getting a lot of support for all the new and budding businesses, so that you are not actually then you're not left alone basically. So I mean that's what my experience with these government schemes were, and they were quite useful to keep us afloat.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Salil. You mentioned the bounce back loan, which is probably called the BBLS as well. And I think people can still apply for it until January 2021. Thank you so much. The next in line is, apologies, that's a timer going off for you, Salil. Right. Pranoti, would you like to respond to the same question again in terms of your experience?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me on the Pathfinders, Reshma and OMPEG core team. It's my pleasure to share my experiences with all the people, all the business people here. With me, I did apply for a small business grant, which I got it quite easily, really. It was, they started with the 3,000 first, and then they gave it to up to 10,000, which was quite easily. Our British Indian fellow colleague Rishi Sunak did the very good job on that basis. So it was quite wonderfully accepted, and grant was really within few days. It was in our bank account, so that was quite nice. We did sort of go for a furlough scheme for couple of my staffs, which are based in London. But with things, quite a few people were getting quite agitated with the pandemic hitting them. So basically, they started sort of going towards going part-time business, because a lot of people were sort of not very happy with the furlough scheme as it is. So they wanted to do part-time jobs in few other things. So that's how, but one of my staff did get a furlough scheme, and it was quite easily done. So that was quite a good experience getting the grant as well as the furlough schemes. It was not a problem. You could sustain the business at least for some time with that. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, Pranoti. So that's another example of the furlough scheme being useful and being used. And of course, the small businesses grant. Perhaps when we go to Akshay, we might ask him to give us a little more detail on the small business grant. Right. Going next is Sanjay. Sanjay, what was your experience with the finance schemes?
Hello, everyone. Happy Diwali, first of all, and welcome to Pathfinder's first session. Thank you, Reshma, for the kind introduction. So yes, initially when lockdown started in UK, we didn't have immediate need of borrowing, because we assess and understand what is required now and what may require for future. But during early days of COVID-19 pandemic, microeconomics as well as macroeconomic factors were changing so much so that no one knew what is going to happen next week, next month, and next year. So finally, we decided to go with CBIL scheme, which was like a very first scheme introduced by British government. It was just like a standard business loan process, and it had to go through all the due diligence. After a week or few days, I believe they introduced next scheme called bounce back loan, which was guaranteed by government. So bank had no hesitation in offering that to businesses. So we withdrew our CBIL application and applied for bounce back loan, which was just a few clicks process. We applied and got money straight away in our bank account within 48 hours. So that was a great scheme, and I believe one of the best scheme any government has offered to businesses. Then government also announced a furlough scheme, which helped us a lot. We managed to retain our sales staff by putting them on furlough. So we assessed situation and decided what staff we need to handle existing business and what staff we need to go on furlough. So that was a great initiative by government, and I had absolutely no problem in enjoying that benefit or availing that benefit.
That's great to know. Thank you, Sanjay. You did mention the CBILs, which is, I think that was about the business, the interruption in business kind of a loan. And one can possibly apply up to 5 million, but obviously you have to have a certain turnover. More details on that, if any one of the participants, or sorry, if any one of our audience needs, they can post a question there. But thank you, Sanjay. Again, you're third in line to say the furlough scheme worked for you, which is brilliant. Rishi Sunak would have been happy being on the show with us. He should have come. It's his loss. Shaheena, do you want to go next?
Yep. Thank you so much, Reshma, for a beautiful, wonderful introduction. And thank you, OMPEG, and our audience for joining today. So yes, regarding the government scheme support, I will say I have been quite very, very careful since the beginning of launch of our brand. I always manage to keep our overhead relatively low, and that worked in our favor. In terms of staff, furlough and all, we have always been working with freelancers. To be honest, we don't even need permanent staff because these are all models, photographers. We don't always need them. All we need is manufacturers. And they don't depend on us. They are getting a lot of, orders from other businesses as well. So yeah, one and only worry I had was to pay for my studio. I had a loan for it, and we pay installment. And to be honest, couple of weeks, I was really, really worried about it, that how am I going to manage it? This is not rented building or space where I will just move out simply. So we had no option. And then this scheme came out for payment break. So we applied for payment break, and we got for 3 months, and it was quite simple and very, very easy, to be honest. I just had to speak with my bank. I spoke with them for 10-15 minutes, explained them the problem, what we are going through. And they said, yeah, of course, we can take advantage of this scheme. And next day, I just had to send them email. Within a week, it was just done. And that was the scheme that was very, very helpful for us. Apart from this, we did not face any financial challenges, all staff pay and furlough, and we didn't need all that. So that was it.
Thank you, Shaheena. This is the beauty of our show today, in terms of all of you come from varied sectors, and which is, like I said, the beauty of it is that all of you will have different challenges in different areas and will respond differently. So as you said, you did not have staff, so you didn't need to use the furlough scheme. But interesting to hear the way you made use of the mortgage breaks that were offered by the government, which obviously should be included as part of the whole financial support scheme. Thank you, Shaheena. Over to you, Harsh, the last one in this round of questions.
Thank you, Reshma. Thank you for a great introduction. Thank you, OMPEG, for giving me this opportunity. And happy Diwali, everyone. It was a very tricky situation in our case because background was entertainment, and we planned, quite well in advance, 2 years, 3 years. So all the money was already in the market. Whatever we earned, it went into the market straight away with planning of our future events. I think the good thing was we don't have any staff. So myself, my wife, and one of the famous Indian actors, Prashant Dhamale, he operates from India. So when this bounce back loan scheme and the other schemes were launched, to be honest, I must admit that I was very excited. We are getting some seed money, some cash flow, to be honest. But then we had series of internal meetings and we, discussed, do we really need it? Because money is already in the market and the process has started to recover that money, or defer those events when we have a clarity about this pandemic and vaccines and whatnot. But the discussion revealed that we definitely need some seed money in the future, but let's try and recover that money, whatever is in the market, and then decide how much we really need. Because even though it's a low interest, it is still a debt, it's still a loan, and we don't know what is going to be the future. So we decided not to go ahead with bounce back loan or any other scheme that was available to us, but we have kept that as an open card because it's allowed until January. So we will monitor the situation for the next couple of months, and then we will decide that, do we really need to borrow or not. But one thing is for sure, we will carefully borrow that money, because even though it's up to the limit of 50,000, we don't want to get overwhelmed. So if we need, say, 5,000, we'll borrow 5,000, simple, so that it's easy to pay as well. Just because we are getting money out of it and seed money to play with. Entertainment industry is very uncertain. One event can get you out of the market. So we have to be very careful. So at the moment, we are not, we are considering that option, but we'll decide in late December or January.
Thank you so much, Harsh. I think that is a very, very important perspective that you've offered in terms of exercising caution. So just because money is available, use it sensibly, decide how much you need, if you need it at all. So I would think that's a very good piece of advice or experience that you've shared with all of us, to say exercise caution and use only if needed. Thank you to all 5 of you for having answered this particular question relating to the financial schemes. I'm going to turn to Akshay and then Af. Akshay, you heard all the participants, you heard what they had to say. Is there anything you would like to add on? Is there more information that's coming from you?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Reshma. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to clear up some misconceptions and in relation to all of these grants and loans and everything that is available. First of all, anybody who actually have an office premises, obviously you are going to get a grant from your council up to 10,000 to 25,000. If you're in the hospitality business, it's 25. If you're in a normal business, 10 is coming to you. But please do consider this grant is an income which is subject to income tax or corporation tax. So please do not take it as a kind of a non-taxable kind of a grant. That's number one. And number two, furlough. Furlough is very, very complicated kind of calculations which require what you call an average, wage bill of your employee for the last year, 2019. So it's very important how you calculate your furlough. Make sure that if you have an accountant who actually does your furlough calculations, and don't do it on your own. The reason I say this is because we are actually managing furlough schemes for almost 120 clients of ours. And we have started receiving letters from HMRC in relation to the furlough scheme and how it has been operated and whether there's been overpayment or there's been underpayment and stuff like that. So please be very cautious in relation to the scheme, because if not today, tomorrow HMRC is going to come and hound you. The reason being is that there has been a lot of fraudulent activities as far as the furlough scheme is concerned. So that goes with the furlough. If you don't have to follow a staff, please don't follow a staff. Make sure he's on the payroll. Just be honest with the government, because when they come back, it'll be hard biting. The other thing with the furlough is obviously if your employee is on furlough, he cannot actually work. Basically, you know about that. He can actually go into training. He can also take up a position with another company if he wants to, but as per your discretion, that he can actually go and work for some other company. right? But these are the three actually criteria in relation to your furlough. Obviously, up to October, it was 60% that the government actually gave you, and the remaining you actually paid off. But as from 1st of November, you can actually put your employees back on furlough, even those employees that you took on in October. So if by October, if you had actually employed somebody, you can actually put him on the furlough scheme. And this furlough scheme is going to go up to March. However, the government is going to decide in January how the situation is, and probably might change the rules or regulations at that point in time. So those of you who are actually self-employed and receiving self-employed, what you call assistance from the government, again, please, that is a taxable and nickable income. Don't think that you're not going to be taxed on it. You're going to be taxed on it. So please keep some money aside as soon as when you have to pay your taxes on that one. In relation to the bounce back loan, yes, the bounce back loan is again open, and you can actually top up your bounce back loan. So say, for example, you've only taken £25,000, you still have a chance to top it all up to £50,000. And there is a saying, I think there's a rumor going on, not even a rumor, actually, it's on the HMRC website, that the bounce back loan will not be collected in 6 years' time, but in 10 years' time. Yeah. So that is something very, very new, which is coming up. CIBIL loans have become much, much lenient than what they were earlier on. CIBIL loan has got now 3 criteria and is open up to 30th of November. The first criteria is that you get 25% of your total turnover, right? Which is quite lenient. They won't ask much question, but they'll try and give you as much as possible. That's 25% of your turnover, similar to kind of a bounce back loan. But if your turnover is say £1 million, you'll get £250,000 and less question. If you want more, then the other thing is that you'll have to give a statement of, how do we say, a reasoning as to why actually do you want the CIBIL loan. And the third criteria is that you probably might have to go for a full-blown application to get a higher CIBIL loan if it's more than £1 million or whatever. Right. So these are the certain criteria. There are also a lot of grants available from your individual councils up to £200,000, where you can actually claim around maximum of £5,000 towards buying computers or for marketing purposes or accountancy or whatever purposes that you need a loan for. But these loans tend to go very quickly. You just have to keep your eye on your councils and see if the loans are coming in, and you can just apply for them. So this is in short a bit of from me. So yeah, I'll hand you over back to Reshma.
Oh, thank you, Akshay. This was great information in terms of the schemes that have been offered. So you talked about BBLS and CIBIL and the local government grants. I think within the local government grants from the research that I had to do, there's something also called as a discretionary grant.
That's the one I was talking about. Yes.
Yeah, which then is I mean, if you don't fit into some particular criteria for which other grants are available, there's the discretionary grant. So that could be something that one could look at. Yeah. Also, aren't there more tax rebates? And for example, there's a deferral of the VAT payments.
Well, yeah, the deferral of the VAT payment did actually start off in April. When it was supposed to be only for 3 months, but we don't have any more deferral schemes for VAT. So those people who actually deferred the VAT in April to June 2020 will need to pay it in what you call March 2021.
Right.
Yeah. So we haven't heard much about
that. Yeah. They haven't continued with it. They haven't continued with that.
And obviously, you were supposed to pay your July taxes you were supposed to pay your second installment in July, which has been deferred to January anyway. So when you do your January tax returns, obviously that can be. And the main important for people who are actually running limited companies, obviously, you know that you have to file your accounts 9 months after the year end. However, the government has now given you 12 months to file your accounts, but you'll have to make sure that you actually pay your corporation tax 9 months and 1 day after your year end. So don't delay on paying your corporation tax, because if you don't, you will be charged interest on it. However, there's no penalty, but yes, there is interest on it. If at all you guys cannot pay your VAT bills or your corporation or your tax bills, please call up government and make sure that you have a payment plan arrangement with them. If you don't, then you're asking for a lot of trouble. So please call them up and don't shy away that it'll go under the carpet. Thank you.
Wise words, Akshay. Thank you so much. Important for all of us to keep, because it's easy to kind of think these things are going to be automatically taken care of when they actually are not. You have to do something in order for them to kick in. Thank you so much for this round of questions. Af, can I turn to you for any further information, any expert opinions?
Yeah, sure. That was very useful, Akshay. I was making notes myself. So this is a practical question, so I can't add massive amounts of value, but I do want to share an observation for all of the listeners, and some of the entrepreneurs raised this point quite aptly. This goes down to business models. So moving forward, outside of the practicalities of keeping your business going and staying alive, there is a fundamental question that you must ask yourself around how you run the cost structures of your business. And what I'm seeing out there, I have 550,000 startups on my platform globally, and there's some interesting trends we're seeing. One of which is related to the gig economy. So the folks who are entrepreneurs, and I forget who it was, but you talked about low operating costs or freelance models, or you talked about gig economy models or contractors. We often refer to them as variable or flexible resourcing. We're going to start to see a lot more of that, and you should really start to consider building a business model where you're not as labored or pressured to have permanent payroll. Now, this might go against the grain of employing people and the whole philosophy of employment and so on. But I do believe that the future of work and the future of business models will require a more flexible way of running your operating costs. I'm seeing it globally. I certainly see it in the technology space, including my business and hundreds of thousands of others that are moving towards a balance between hiring permanent employees, which is important, by the way, as well as trying to look at alternative resourcing models. Not just because it's not a defense strategy, it's not block and tackle. It's to make you aware that more and more businesses are going to be using data platforms. They're going to be using more e-commerce. And if you haven't already shifted even a real estate business towards using technology platforms, you will imminently. It's happening. So all I will say, Reshma, is whoever has managed to keep the gig economy alive and look at freelancers and such models, you'll have a much better chance of surviving and thriving as a business. So just a point of note there.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Af. And as you said, the flexible way of running operating costs is probably here to stay, and the future, as you suggested, neatly brings on to the next question, which is around resources. The theme is about resources and conserving and managing them. So the actual question goes in terms of, where did you need to cut costs in your business, or where did you have to cut costs in your business? And when we say cut costs, it's not just about money, but how did you manage your resources, and what challenges did you face in doing so? Sanjay, if we could start with you this time. You need to unmute yourself, Sanjay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Got it. So that was really a drawing room time, lots of pen, paper, and lots of Excels. So how we started with making list of all our weekly, monthly, and annual expenses, then split them in essential and secondary expenses category. So for our business, because we are in telephony services, which are cloud-based, so essential expenses are mainly our network infrastructure. So at data center, interconnect charges. So we spoke with our data centers, interconnect providers to understand what their plan is during the COVID-19 situation. And we also shared our plan, and then we had mutual commitment, and they got comfort that, okay, we are going to give them business. And we also knew that they are going to keep their stores open for us and our clients. So that was first thing we did. Now, then we took our staff in confidence to discuss the business situation and uncertainty about economic situations. So staff got assurance from us that their job is safe, and we got assurance from them that they are happy to go extra mile to help business and our clients. So that was second thing we did. Then furlough scheme, as we discussed during first question, it helped a lot in terms of retaining sales staff mainly. Else it would have been very difficult to continue them, as new business development activity was almost zero during first strict lockdown, and there was no certainty when it's going to resume, right? And then we now turn to the secondary expenses category, which was office expense rent for our UK and India offices. We managed to negotiate contract term with our landlords. We got very nice landlords and generous landlords, so they reduced our rent to significantly low figure. it was a challenging task, but we managed that. So that's how we tried separating our primary and secondary expenses and put more emphasis on primary. We made sure our cash flow and resources are all concentrated on primary, and we tried deferring our secondary expenses. So this is how we managed the financial situation challenges and cost cutting and resource management.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. That's an important tip there in terms of quickly identifying your primary and your secondary resources and ensuring that the cash flow concentration and the resource concentration is, because that is about staying afloat, isn't it? So thanks a lot for that. Harsh, is there something you would like to add on?
As I said in my previous answer, all the money is already in the market. But the steps that we took, we reduced the infrastructure cost required for every show or every production that we work on. So we were working with a couple of production houses in India. So we immediately stopped it. Creation of sets, creation of design, anything and everything related to an event or a production in India, we immediately stopped it so that we don't have to really spend money till the time we have a clarity on this pandemic issue. The second step that we took was we reduced, or we actually cut short the website upgradation plans that we had in line with our event management plan. So I work very closely with Sharat Agrawal, Cloud Pursuit Limited. He's also an OMPEG paying member. He is in the call, I believe. So we have had numerous discussions. How do we go about it? So he has helped a lot in that case as well. But yeah, at the moment, it's not about conserving or managing resources, it's about getting the money back. So we have spoken to all the theaters in the UK, all the contracts with the production house that we have, one-to-one contracts that we have with the actors. So we have got a promise from them that yes, we'll be able to use those dates in future as far as theater bookings are concerned. Actors are really helping us out with, they are trying to cut their cost as well. I mean, a couple of actors, they said, we'll come by economy class next time we come. We don't need a business class, which was very, kind. As long as we are able to perform, we are happy. And that's the state we are in. It's a crash landing for us, to be honest. But we are getting through. We are trying to find ways. But yeah, at the moment, recovery of the money and, trying to be flexible in our business models. All the production houses are helpful as well in India. They are not really behind money, but it's about assurance that yes, we want to work again in the future. But yeah, full stop to everything that we are doing right now.
I would say pause. I would say it's a pause. It's not a full stop.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment it's pause.
Yeah,
okay.
It's possibly a semicolon only, and once the floodgates open, we can look forward to some brilliant performances brought to us by Charuta Entertainments. Harsh, you put forward a very interesting point in terms of, so typically when we talk about resources, everybody thinks about money, the cash flow, everybody thinks about employees or raw material or infrastructure. I think you brought in a very key point in terms of saying, how could the services that you were using, how could you have conversations about reducing the cost in those? As you said, you had conversations with your digital provider in terms of where. So these are small things, but I'm sure very helpful, and possibly they form a part of the basket of things that you have to consider, isn't it? So thank you very much for that. I am going to look at Shaheena now to understand how did your business deal with the resource situation?
See, when this lockdown started, we were on our way to plan our new collection. Wow. And I remember that time one freelancer was working with me. She was my CAD designer, and she pointed that, do you think we are going to do this? Because we still continued normally, like, okay, yeah, we are going to do it. For a couple of weeks, we continued working. And she pointed like, are we going to do this? This is not going to happen. And I was so naive to think that things are going to get back to normal within a couple of weeks. And how naive I was, I don't know why I thought that. And we still worked. And then came like, PPE project. We heard like, there is a shortage of PPE. So we started working on that project for a couple of weeks to help our community. That time I realized that how difficult it is to source material from. from India, China, wherever we are getting it from. During that time, what happened, whatever we ordered, either it was being lost in postage or it was taking a lot longer to reach us. And I realized there is no new fashion collection is coming out. There is no way. But the question was, we still have to be there in market. We have to do something. And without fabric, that became challenge for me. No fabric, what I'm going to make now? So what we did is, instead of planning new collection, we thought we have some fabric, some leftover in our store. Let's use it. And we removed that summer, tag of summer from our recent collection. Because the new trend started for loungewear. Now, if I am selling with summer tag, people are not going to buy it. So I spoke with Sharad. I think Sharad is already listening this. I think he is also there. So I said, let's remove this summer. So people will, start buying this. And anyways, these clothes are quite relaxed and relaxed fit and very cool to wear in home as well. So we removed it. We continued with the same resource. It saved us money for the next collection. That money was saved. And it was really, I think, a good decision we took there, because then no more photo shoots, no more printing works and all, and it saved us a lot of money. And we can use it in future for another collection or whatever it is. So that's how we made our decision.
Oh, great. Thank you, Shaheena. So it was about kind of quickly rearranging what you had and ensuring that you kind of reuse what you have. So brilliant information there. And thank you for sharing.
It's high time to learn to reuse, isn't it? So
yeah.
That's it.
Over to you, Salil. What it'll be interesting to know how you could, what could you do with your resource issues? Being
for my business is, it's generally, I don't have a permanent staff. I work with a lot of contractors from different trades. And my supply chain is the material which is required to carry out those jobs. Now, during the first lockdown, we had all all the teams and everything, they were ready to carry out the work, but the manufacturers stopped manufacturing essential material. So suddenly there is no material to carry out the work. When the lockdown was lifted, the material started becoming slowly it started becoming available. That time, one of my the builders and his entire team, they went into self-isolation. So it was a classic case of जब चना है खाने को तभी दांत नहीं है, जब दांत है तभी चने नहीं है. So basically, then and then we had a couple of projects which we wanted to finish it. Now again, having good sort of team around you or having good contacts around you, it helped a lot, because when we had we had to reschedule the timelines for the projects, we had to reschedule the entire the costs and everything, as well as what we have to do was we have to get in more people of similar trades and then to expedite the time lost. And but of course, I would say that having right professionals around you, it really helps, because we could actually even during the lockdown from say June till now, we managed to finish 2 extensive renovation projects, and each of those projects took us just over 2 months each, which is I would say even during the lockdown that was in terms of, even though we lost on time, we could still manage to complete those things well within time, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you, Salil. No, I was so lost in trying to understand what you were saying. I didn't realize you had finished. So that's, again, like I said, these different perspectives coming from the different sectors, these are so useful. Pranoti, I'm going to come to you. You're the last one to go for this question.
Yes, thank you, Reshma. With me, Zoom has been an excellent buddy of mine for last few months now, and especially after the lockdown lifted. In fact, in lockdown, many people were already using Zoom so widely that it really helped us a lot. Even our clients, they started. So before they used to ask us to come and meet, the personal touch and things like that, we didn't have to sort of do that. travel cost. Travel was, of course, was not done. So we really could do the Zoom and get on with the work immediately. Of course, in the beginning, our campaigns were taken off. A lot of money was stopped from the clients, generally, of course, naturally, because they were in lockdown as well as we were. So they had stopped the money coming in. We had stopped the campaign money totally. They literally stopped on the day the lockdown started. They just stopped the campaigns. And then whatever the money was supposed to be paid, we, as I said, with the grants and stuff like that, we could at least manage it for the lockdown time. So it was fine. But what I've done is I have continued with the Zoom now. I do not go and meet the clients as we used to meet before, meet them personally. We have cut down on the cost, and even my staff is on Zoom, so I don't have to we don't have to have a premises. We do still have a commercial premises as a studio, small studio in London, which I'm still paying a rent, but I'm sort of looking at stopping that as well and getting off, from the rental point of view as well, because that's the way my biggest chunk is going right now. But with Zoom has been absolutely wonderful because it's much more focused. Even the client is quite interested, and they're more, with the COVID situation, they don't want to meet many people now. So it's quite easier that way, and my costs are quite down due to that because of the travel as well as, eating out and coffee and lunches and stuff like that. That's all stopped now. So which is quite good, and I'm cutting down on that a lot actually. Yeah.
Thank you, Pranoti. That is interesting. Yeah, those everyday coffee costs going down will add on to a
Absolutely.
lot.
I'm
sure.
paying for the clients. That used to be the one. We used to pay for the clients as well.
No, these are those small things that all start mattering, and then you realize, oh, okay, there was a drain there as well. So thank you for that. That brings us back to the expert panels. Akshay, in what ways do you think, as an accountant, you will be able to?
Sure, Reshma. To be honest, I think the business has never had it so good in the lockdown period, actually. Right? And I'll tell you why. The biggest expenses of any business is their staff, their rent, their rates, and their loans and their leases, right? For staff, government has given you furlough. Okay, that's gone. For rent, you can negotiate with your landlord almost 6 to 8 months of rent deferral, and you do not need to pay till the end of your lease, where the lease can be extended further to the 7 to 8 months. Okay, so if you have a 3-year lease or 5-year lease, if you're renting a kind of office premises, you can defer it after paying those kind of rent after 3 years or 5 years. You don't need to pay it immediately. So your rent is taken care of. Your rates are taken care of because council is happy to defer the rates, right? If you got loans and if you got lease payments of your car or whatever you're having, those companies are happy to also defer payments for almost 6 to 8 months, right? You're not traveling anywhere, as Pranoti said. You're not eating out. So basically, you're actually saving a lot of money, right? I was fearing that my clients would fall like flies after all this lockdown was happening. But in fact, they came back to me and said, business is doing good. We're happy. And in fact, we're saving a lot of money. And I thought, really? And I'm talking about clients like nurseries, shops, restaurants, and also like, dry cleaning shops. All of them are doing quite well, actually, especially eat out and help out. Restaurants have gained so much money in that kind of, schemes that they've actually earned all their money for the whole year. So there are good times. And I think the government of this country has taken much, much better care than any government throughout the world. And I think we're doing much better. So yeah, over to you.
Fantastic. So it's all is not gloom and doom.
No.
It's important to know that as well, because generally the picture that gets painted in the media is that everything's going down, the economy is gliding down. So it's important to get it straight from an accountant who manages so many diverse businesses to say it's not all that bad for people. And actually, in the way that you manage the situation, you could actually be making some good, well, maybe not good money, but you could at least be conserving and not kind of drowning, at least, which is important at this point in time.
Definitely. And the government has been quite lenient towards all the loans and everything that they have been providing. So, yeah.
No, I would take the once again. I wish Rishi Sunak was listening on. He's not getting many pats on the back these days, is he? Af, over to you. We spoke about resources, conservation of, and
Yeah,
people
sure.
express.
So just following on Akshay's point, I think this is a good opportunity to sit back for a lot of businesses to take a 10,000 foot view or 30,000 or 50 or 100,000 foot view of their business, assuming that it is a comfortable time. You're not growing, but you're not. You have this opportunity to sort of conserve cash, save money, as one of the entrepreneurs said, and not spend on entertainment and so on and so forth. My guidance, by the way, my sort of humble advice to a lot of people is a few things. So first one is it's a great opportunity to re-examine your sales strategy, whether you're selling something hardware based or software based or virtual or physical, it doesn't really matter. It's a good time to discuss with your team, call it strategic planning if you want, as to whether your strategy to sell is going to be the same when everything opens up again. And I would humbly challenge most people to say, actually, you will have to change the way you sell and the way you market, and campaigning needs to change. There's going to be a much greater reliance on social media and social selling. And we've already started to see that. You know, this whole platform you've built once was a physical event, and now you've had to adjust and shapeshift and make it virtual and do all of this fantastic management that Ani and various other people are doing, and adding people and removing people and stuff like that. So one has to adjust. Sales strategy, rethinking, write that on your list of to-do things during this not quiet but sort of timid time. The second thing is about product innovation. I think it's very important to now think about, I think the gentleman who has a theatre business was talking about how he's got to reconsider how he works with entertainment houses and movie houses. You almost have to think about how what you sold yesterday might need to be sold differently tomorrow, but also what does the product look like? What does the offering look like? Are you still going to give those benefits? Or are you going to give more benefits or less benefits? Because buying behaviors have changed as well. Let's not forget, it takes 3 months or 90 days to create a habit. We've been in this for much longer than that, for 9 months or so, and it'll continue. Our habits have changed, our behaviors have changed. We've become used to this virtual way of existing. As a result, your products need to align with what your customers will probably expect in the new world. My final point really is related to a big statement I'm making, which is about what I call subscription models. I'm really bullish on this. I think whether you're selling services or products or whatever it may be, you have to re-examine with good accountants, hopefully, and financial people, how you can turn a single point of solution product. Like, let's say I charge you £20,000 or £5,000 or whatever for a service of sorts. I have to think about subscriptionizing it. You have to think about subscriptions. The concept is called recurring revenue. You will see, our friends in the coffee shop, in the coffee business, Pretz, trying to create subscription models for coffee. You will see subscription models everywhere now, everywhere. And I promise you'll see it from the shoe shop to the gym, which you already see, to the you're used to Netflix and so on and so forth. You'll see it in the most odd places. I mean, even B&Q, you might see some subscription models coming out of there. Anything that you think is commoditized or a utility will become a subscription. Is your business thinking that way? Are you thinking that way? It includes a property, by the way. I know you might think, well, what the hell are you talking about? Yes, it includes property, includes marketing and campaigning. It includes a design. Definitely a garment wear. You have to think about selling your products in a subscription-driven way as well. It is radical thinking. It's going to challenge your ethos and your thesis on business. But if you've got through this stage, I think you can easily get through the next stage. So I'll stop there.
Oh, Af, thank you so much. I think for me, one of the key things that kind of stuck with me was habits have changed. And they have. I mean, it requires us to re-examine, because habits have a way of forming. You don't know when they get formed, and you don't know when they get lost. So as people who are selling, as entrepreneurs, or people who are selling businesses or products, I think it's going to be vitally important to understand how habits have changed and how is your business going to respond to those changing habits. So a wonderful point there. Thank you so much, Af. As also the point about the subscription models. As you said, this is going to be a radical change in the thought process. A couple of days back, I was listening to Jo Malone, the fragrance lady, and how she sold her initial range to sorry, the name escapes me, but to a famous cosmetics brand, but she's now come back with some more. And what she was saying is, be prepared in the wings. So all of this time that you have where you can't probably launch a new product, but make it product launch ready so that once things open, you have it all done, and all that you have to do is to give that push. So that was another very important kind of learning point. Thank you, Af. We go on to our third question, which is the theme about customer management and business continuity. And so the exact question reads like, during these difficult and unprecedented times, how did you ensure customer connect and customer delight? How did you manage your customers, in short? And for this question, I am extremely sorry. We've had a kind of decided a given list in terms of who is going to go first, but this is not with me. The panelists will probably know who is going to go first. So I open it to you guys.
It's me, Harsh.
Go on, Harsh.
Yeah. So customer management. So restaurants, not now, but when COVID actually struck, restaurants and entertainment is really a low priority. Everyone, including me, is becoming a star on Facebook. Everyone, including me, is becoming a good cook nowadays. So everyone have realized now that if they are able to spend a couple of hours at home, focused way, they'll be able to entertain themselves. They'll be able to cook a good food. And that's where the challenge was. It's about the presence in the market, ensuring customers know that we are still in the market. But the best thing that happened during this time is collaboration. Customer management, customer awareness, knowing, getting connected with customers, informing them that these events are coming up and blah, blah, blah. But I think the collaboration worked really well. A lot of companies, we formed a group on WhatsApp and we started, conversations. Let's work together. Let's not compete, because entertainment is all about competition. That, Friday release, Shah Rukh Khan comes with a movie and next Friday Amir Khan comes with a movie. So it's not going to help in longer run. So small companies like us from Canada, from Australia, from Dubai, from US, we work collaboratively and we explored options that how can we delight our customers? Because let's not forget, we have Netflix, we have Hotstar, we have Prime Video, we have Voot, we have what not. So our research, gave us a good concept of, theater-based events which are shot digitally, properly with 4 cameras setup. And there is a demand of music. People really like Indian music, and which is not available on any of these channels. So we engaged with lots and lots of performers likes of Rahul Deshpande, Zakir Hussain. We formed a kind of a series. We engaged a production house in India, and we came up with a theme called Swarajhankar. And we came up with an exclusive event content, exclusive music, which our customers have never heard before. Yeah. And we started a series of 9 concerts in 2 months at a cost of $2 per show. So I think that went really, really well. We had to really work hard to get some permissions from Indian government to allow us to go to a private theater and do a shooting. And one song, if a singer comes in, he's supposed to sing 4 songs. It used to take 4 days for us. So there was lots and lots of cost involved. But I think the selling point to all those theaters that we utilized or we requested to cooperate was, you're not getting anything at the moment. We are giving you something. So please cooperate. And we have a permission. So I think Swarajhankar went really well across the globe. We reached out to 58 countries, not just me, other companies. Like I said, we collaborated in Australia, we collaborated in Canada. So instead of having expansion plans, we said, let's work together in our respective regions and get customers back to you. And I'm glad to say that today we have 200 plus subscribers for Swarajhankar in the UK alone. So I think collaboration is the key. It's not about just customer delight or ensuring your customer is with you always. It's about collaboration. So I think that helped us really very well.
Right, but your collaboration ensured customer delight, Harsh.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you got Swarajankar, which possibly was a gap in the market, there was nothing, as you said, there was nothing in terms of the music industry there, and you decided to bring this. So that collaboration ensured customer delight, and I'm sure that is a classic example of customer delight when you bring such wonderful music to people. Shaheena, could I request you to answer this question? This is going to be key for you in terms of business continuity.
To be honest, when this lockdown started, our sales were affected from all sides. Earlier, we had two sources. One we were selling online, and the other one, customers were coming to see us in person with their own individual preferences, like, oh, I want this gown to be made like this, or I want it short, long, and we will take measurement and all. Also, they used to it was happening on phones as well. They will say like, okay, I want you to make this dress like this with this fabric, and I am posting to you this fabric. These were all known people and friends. So I was not worried about online sale. But totally then what happened? It stopped. That option was totally gone because of this lockdown, and I cannot take measurement and all, and they cannot see me in person. So then what I did, I immediately shifted my focus to online sale. First week went quiet. Then what I did was I listed my all products on global marketplaces such as Amazon, Etsy, Foxy. Couple of weeks went quiet, but then we started getting really good response from people. We did a bit of PR as well, paid PR and all. And that was really good, actually. We started getting 3-4 platforms. We started getting a response. And you see, if I'm getting from each platform, even if I'm getting two or three sales, that is also enough for us to keep going. From each platform, we are getting that. And also what we did, we tried some drop shipping. So there were no upfront payment or nothing for drop shipping. We will just, add our logos and designs and prints on some jackets and all. And that also worked. We started making sale there as well. And also I added some small things, some accessories like bags and scarves and all to give them variety. And that also helped me. Personalized bhi kiya, like we are making some personalized things, and also in a little bit of fabric we managed. So yeah, that's how we managed to get some sale, and that's how we continued doing our business. And actually it's doing good now, so it worked in our favor, honestly.
Thank you so much. So would you say the personalization went to a certain extent in ensuring your customers stayed with you, or that you potentially had new customers as well?
Actually, still I'm getting some orders. The people who came before, because I have got their measurements already ready. So they came for Diwali as well. We did few orders, so that was okay. But like, if you want really something different, I have made first a trouser for you, and now you want me to make top. So then sizes is also changed, radically changed, everyone's sizes. So that's the different challenge we have in fashion now. Some people are putting on weight, some have lost because they become very health conscious during this pandemic. So this is also one risk for us. But so far, few customers came again with customized order we made, and it was really went well. Not much, but yeah, online sale is going high. So somewhere we are making money.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Shaheena.
Yeah.
Salil, how has the customer delight side of the story been for you?
I mean, see, my customers, I don't actually see them in person, because my customers are generally people who will buy properties from me or they will rent it out. Generally, that process happens through the estate agents. But to understand what exactly they require, so currently, I mean, the new normal is a lot of people are now working from home. So they need that extra room. So whenever we are, these two projects, we were looking at adding some value to it. By adding value, what we did was we created the extra room in these in the flats, and converting the kitchen into the additional bedroom. You can call it as a multi-utility room. So it could be a bedroom, it could be your office, it could be anything. So by doing that, what you're doing is you are then understanding the new needs. which are, generated by COVID. Now, all these rooms, then we added the data, data ports in all those rooms, so that if you are using it as an office or let's say for online schooling, and if you need a hardwire connection, then, that facility is there. That now, for our next project, what we are looking is, it's a house that we will be, we'll be adding value to it. But in the garden, we will be again creating a multi-utility room. So it could, you can convert that as a, playroom for children, or it could be an office, it could be anything. This is, and going forward, we will continue to do that, because that will anyways, it adds value to your project. And people now onwards, a lot of companies, even like, in India, or a lot of like, TCS, they are saying, now you want people to work from home, and that will be the new normal. And for that new normal, this is how, we'll be catering to that need. So, that's my way of attending to what my customer needs, and then, how we can fulfill that.
Amazing. This is about, it's a cliche thing, but then the whole thing about necessity being the mother of invention kind of thing. So that's what makes you think what is required. I think utility room used to mean something very different, but now you're kind of recoining it and calling it the multi-utility room. Perhaps soundproofing it might also help, Salil. Right. Thank you so much for this. Pranoti, what has been your experience? How have you ensured customer delight? I know you took away their coffees. How did you think about the delight?
I took away a lot of coffees and a lot of lunches and dinners. With us advertising campaigns, whenever you want to, the main thing, what the challenge I faced was to get them back on the television, radio, and any multimedia platform. Of course, digital platforms started working very well during pandemic, as you can guess it, because digitally we were doing fabulously well. That was not a problem. We did have that. I'll tell you about in your fourth question. But the main worry was because my main chunk of money was coming to me from television, radio, and other platforms where the client really pays a lot. That is where my campaigns have stopped, and I wanted them to come back to television or come back to radio. That's what my challenge was, to make them understand, hey, we can do it around COVID. So to show the care and sympathy and stuff like that, through your campaigns, through your advertising. That was my main challenge, to make them understand that. Especially like restaurant owners. There are quite a few. I got about 6 restaurant owners who are my clients. Out of that, 2 are gone out of, they're totally gone out of business. The 4 which remaining was difficult to make them understand. They're saying, well, eat out and get, eat out, help them within in August month and all that. Again, second lockdown is coming. They don't want to spend money for the campaigns. You understand? So that's where I sort of had to make them understand that we can create a campaign around it, around your, around the COVID situation. Also, I had to talk to them regarding how you can have your seatings outside, outdoor seating. That was another thing, that, okay, to show them how the restaurant is equipped for COVID, how you can come and eat. And that really worked very well. We had to work quite vigorously with them and make them understand that this can work, and it did work, which was it was really good for them as well. So business is still going on now. Takeaways. So we have shifted our way of thinking, the way we will put it on the advertising side, how our campaigns worked. So that was quite good, but still the biggest challenge is to get them back the way they used to spend money before. They're still not spending that much amount of money, and that's my biggest challenge. And we are working on that, different innovative ideas on that.
We'll come to that. Stay with us, Pranoti. We'll talk about the innovation in the business. Over to the expert panel. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm conscious of the time. We are about 4 minutes away from the time that we should have stopped, and we still have lots to go, in the sense we have one a very important question to cover. And of course, there is the audience interaction. But this is getting so interesting and exciting. I'm sure all of you will not mind staying a little longer with all of us. So here's continuing our conversation. I'm going to turn to Akshay in terms of what inputs.
Right. To be honest, Reshma, I believe every business has got a different model, and every business knows how to actually manage their customers. But as Af said, and I'm a big advocate of that subscription model that he mentioned, that's very, very important, and that really works for us too. Talking of my experience, and obviously talking from my client point of view, most of my clients have said, Akshay, business is bad. I know we need to pay you our fees on a subscription model and all that. I said, you know what, to be honest, don't worry. Don't pay me my fees for another 6 months. Okay. I won't reduce it, but don't pay me now. Let's defer the fees. Once you're back up and running, you can pay me then. And that model actually works for them. And they say, yeah, that's fine. So that is another kind of a strategy you can apply, stating to your client that, don't worry, I'm here to help you. You're not running away. I'm not running away. Take some time off. And in that way, obviously. But other than that, I'm sure I'll leave it to the expert Af, who's going to actually tell you more on this.
Thank you, Akshay.
Thank you.
Af?
I'm not sure if I'm an expert on it, but yeah, a few things. I think someone talked about competition. There's a term which is used in the market. It's called co-opetition. So the whole philosophy around where we are right now is that, look, we're all going through trauma of sorts in our personal lives and in the business life that we're talking about today. And there's an opportunity when you go through trauma, you have a level of empathy and compassion that you can accelerate. You can press the accelerator on. And as such, when you're thinking differently about your business, your competition might even become your partnership of tomorrow. And so you almost have to drop your ego. You have to drop your fears and anxieties about working with someone who you thought would be your competitor and try and sort of build a bridge or some sort of an alliance. We see it in the big companies. We're seeing it in the small companies too. So there's two words. Co-opetition is good for you. It's not bad for you. It's good for you if you want to survive and thrive in a world tomorrow. The other word is ecosystems. I think we're in a fantastic time because these webinars that we're on today and many others, they're all actually, frankly, they're free. Even you can go onto Harvard, you can go onto Hoover Institute. Gosh, I mean, it's a phenomenal time to develop knowledge and experience that you would have had to pay a lot of money for in the past. Some of the best experts are giving their insights away for free. What I would recommend people do to try and think about customer delight. I'm not talking about anything too practical because the group is quite diverse. It's very hard to there's not one size fits all. So it would be wrong for me to give a piece of advice because it's not contextual, right? So, but what I will say is that customer delight again is something that you have to adjust around. Jump on all of these webinars that are free, identify people who are saying things that align to your sort of thought process and your value system so you can reinforce your thinking about customer delight because it's going to take a different form and shape. One practical idea on customer delight, it's a little bit out there, but I want to share it, is charity and giving back. If you're making £1 of profit, of maybe 20p of that profit, you should boldly go out to the market and advertise through Pranoti's business, who's doing advertising, and basically go out of your way to say, look, I make so much money, but from now onwards, because of everything I've experienced, 15% of what I earn is going to go back to a cause that you really care about. The startup world has been doing this quite effectively for a long time. There's a company called Lemonade in the insurance business that disrupted the traditional business of insurance by saying, Reshma, if you buy an insurance policy from me, 15% of that policy will go towards a cause that you care about. Now, surprise, surprise, many of us care about the charities that are close to our hearts, and the younger generation, you'd be surprised, cares a lot more about it. So if any of you are selling into millennials or Gen Z, Gen X, Alpha Gen, whatever you want to call them, you must think about now a more ethical business. This business of Dhavale or trying to desi business, doing business, ye kara do, wo kara do, that's all fine. I think we need to think out of the box, and we do good work for communities. Bring and promote that work into your business. Very, very important. Even the biggest businesses are being forced to do that. So charity, ecosystems, co-opetition, That's what I'll say. But the big question that I want to answer later is about innovation. So I won't labor this point anymore, but thank you.
No, thank you so much. That's a very interesting concept about ethical businesses. And like you said, perhaps a lot of us engage in that in a very different way. Anyways, this is about changing the ball game in a way, and ensuring that the way you spend on charity is done in a way which will enhance your business as well. So thank you, Af, for that. Brings me to the fourth and the final and the most important kind of question, which is around innovation, because I'm sure through the COVID period, each one of us has had to innovate, has had to kind of reinvent ourselves, whether businesses, us as an individual in some way or the other. So the actual question for the panelists goes as, did you need to reinvent or innovate your business strategy to stay afloat? Did you find something in the new way of working that you liked and will continue with even in the post-pandemic times? And honestly, this is my very favorite question. I think a lot of us have made certain changes to the way we operate such that we will want to continue in the same way post-pandemic period. So that was my question. Pranoti, if I may ask you to answer this first, because you did mention something and you said, I'll keep it for the innovation question.
Right. Actually, in fact, AF has already sort of spoken about that. What we did is we did collaborate with a lot of people, especially digital marketing. I went on a lot of huge way of going into digital marketing. So collaborated with digital marketing company who does digital marketing for us as well. And that's where, one of my biggest client is GoFresh. GoFresh, we invented with them. We sort of started with a campaign on a social media, find a bag and feed a child. So that sort of thing. So we did that campaign, and it absolutely amazingly, it was quite popular thing. So because of the pandemic, the situation was such that there was a lot of homeless kids were, of course, staying. A lot of homeless people needed food. A lot of people had lost jobs. So we collaborated. We did the campaign around that. So that was quite a good campaign. It went on, and we got a huge response. That was the kind of innovation and direct response campaign. So basically, even with the one of my other client is a diamond jewelers. They are as well similar. Because naturally nobody's going to buy diamond jewelry now in the pandemic. That was the last thing on their mind. But we thought like sort of, okay, for a Diwali coming up, and if we collaborated with the charities, and then that's how it worked. With social media campaign worked very well on that. That is the innovation we did in our this year in pandemic, really.
Well, that's fascinating. You have an expert give you this input, and there you have, you've already executed it.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Brilliant stuff. Sanjay, how has innovation, your business is pretty specific in the sense you're saying you're talking about internet telephoning. What was the innovation? How could you reinvent?
So Reshma, this COVID-19 taught all of us the importance of e-commerce, right? And we have been planning to go online route to generate new sales, but never managed to start due to like existing workload. And anyways, we were getting decent business through our traditional channel, where sales team will go meet businesses and sign up. But after the lockdown, our traditional sales channel completely stopped with uncertainty about restarting it, right? So that gave us great opportunity to expedite our online sales platform process. And we started working on our self-service platform, where clients can go online, complete end-to-end sales process. And we also developed an auto-provisioning platform where we can deliver pre-configured handset or configure their mobile app or desktop app within 24 hours. So ready to go set up within 24 hours. So with new platform, our target is to manage 90% sales and support online.
Wow.
Now, this is what we have planned and we are working on during this COVID situation. But at the same time, the answer to your question, will we continue this post-COVID? Yes, certainly we will continue online sales platform post-COVID, but we will also keep our traditional sales platform, because as you rightly said, our target segment is particular SMEs where we have to go and do audit offer them customized solutions. We'll continue with our traditional channel, but at the same time, the COVID taught us the importance of e-commerce. So we will have more and more focus on online sales. So that's the strategy during COVID and post-COVID, Reshma.
Lovely. So your e-commerce strategy is here to stay, is what you're telling us. Thank you, Sanjay. Harsh, I know, and of course this is inside information, but I know the brilliant innovation that you thought of during this call. Please come alive here and tell us about your innovation during this time.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Reshma. So I started this company because I love theater. Theater is my passion. Although I can't act much, but I love that environment of theater and make.
No, that's a lie that you can't act.
So I mean, Swara Shankar was really working well for us. It's more of Indian music. In India also, theaters were closed. Everything was closed. So how can we get their favorite performers? Get the favorite performers of the people online. Similar way we did for Swara Shankar. So Rishikesh Joshi, who is one of the actors, he came up with a brilliant idea, and he said, "Can we do a virtual theater tour?" That's how it all started. So there a lot of brainstorming happened on how do we do it. So in Marathi, for a play, it is called as natak, and 99% nataks in India are touring theaters, touring nataks. So they perform in Aurangabad, they perform in Mumbai second day. In UK, it is resident productions always. So Mousetrap is running since 66 years now. So we tried to create that virtual touring concept, and we came up with a concept called Natak, Internet Version Natak, where the concept was that all the artists will be at home, the set will be done by them, the makeup will be done by them, and they will perform together and present a script. And we really feel that technically we did not deliver up to the mark, because Zoom and webinars and Vimeo, it was all new to us, and internet connectivity in India is very brilliant. So a lot of time it gets it becomes a challenge. But the idea was to innovate and continue that presence of theater as a concept. So we signed up with 7 actors, all of them females, and they performed sitting at their home. I never thought I would get to see a lounge of Rishikesh Joshi, sitting at his lounge performing. But yeah, a lot of 45 people team was established, and we performed over 50 shows across the globe. The US was the largest share that they picked up. They picked up I think 24 shows. So I think I wanted that play thing to continue, because nothing can beat live performance. It doesn't matter whether it is Netflix, what actors are performing, what kind of a music it is. No one can beat theater performance. So wanted to continue and ensure that those live performances are still in place, and that's how Natak started. And we will come up with another Natak soon, and we plan to continue that, because I don't see foreign tours of Indian productions happening in the next couple of years, at least because it's a huge risk. 50% capacity, we can't recover any money.
That was a brilliant combination, Harsh. Yeah, that was a brilliant combination of.
One thing I must say, we are also launching a kind of a. It's again an online event, but it's to promote local talent, be it India, be it US, be it UK. So there will be, who knows, someone clicks and they get a good role. So we are trying to innovate.
I mean, that is what is in the pipeline. Sorry, what you said is in the pipeline. That's to come. But what you've already delivered was a brilliant combination of theater and the use of technology. Yes, it needs to be polished a bit, but it was a brilliant innovation. Thank you so much, Harsh, for that. And like I said, for most of us, that was an active example of how businesses could quickly reinvent themselves. Shaheena, I'm going to come to you. Your 2 minutes start now.
I really believe it's time to change. And to be honest, this pandemic is also an opportunity to innovate. And as I mentioned before, we removed the summer from our collection. And this is always going to be now. We have decided to go seasonless. We are not tagging our collection with the summer, winter, and bringing out so many collections. we are producing as a coming from fashion background. I can see like, there are so many brands out there who are producing far too often and far too much. It's not needed. Clothing should not be tagged with the seasons. Any clothing item you can wear in any season. You just have to layer it up to keep yourself warm. So now Falcon Fashion, we have always been actually sustainable, but one more we changed, we are doing now. There wouldn't be any season tags, and we wouldn't be, like making clothes for each and every season. It is always going to be like this. We will bring out only one collection, and that is going to be for whole year.
Oh,
So that's what I think it is time to, show some pity on our planet as well.
No, that is perhaps what we call a paradigm shift in terms of thinking. You're right. I mean, clothes are clothes at the end of the day, and you say you probably layer on or you layer off. So amazing paradigm shift there. Thank you, Shaheena.
Thank you.
I am going to quickly go to Salil in terms of how did you innovate?
I mean, we already had that sort of thing. So what we do is when we are doing kitchens or bedrooms, we have something called facelift or makeovers. So what you do in that case is you're not actually changing your entire kitchen or bedroom. You're just facelifting it. That means all your carcasses, all the cabinets, they stay in the place. You're just changing the frontals. So that includes doors, your light pelmets or cornice and side panels and those things. By doing that, what you're doing is you're actually saving, say, more than 50% of your cost in the kitchen, because your cabinets, generally, they will be good enough for good 10, 15, 25 years, depending on the cabinets they are. So that model of facelifting or makeover, it changes, there are numerous examples on my, on the website where we have done the facelifts for a lot of people. And it almost look like, it's a new kitchen or it's a new bedroom just by changing the fronts. Now that's, that we are doing it before COVID, we are doing it during COVID, and we'll continue to do that after COVID as well. Apart from that, the other thing, there is a very good advert going on. It's not just the Cadbury ad, and that advert was made use of AI, and Cadbury has launched that ad in India. Now I was thinking of similar line. Because all the work that we do for my project, I will be I'll have the final photos or whatever. But when we are actually selling the properties or when we are renting out the properties, we are starting a conversation with the estate agents where I can actually advertise this kitchen is fitted by XYZ carpentry services, or this building work was done by XYZ builders. And then I can actually have those placards displayed in my property when I'm selling it. So it's a way of joining hands with your local, your suppliers or your subcontractors, because otherwise nobody knows who your gas engineer who did the nice work on your boiler. You will just end up seeing the end product, but the actual people behind that, nobody knows who they are. So we did a couple of videos with my subcontractors as well, and then now I'm speaking to a few of the estate agents. So where we'll be, when we start advertising the property for sale or for renting, we will have those things like placards displayed in the property for whenever people are going for viewing, you can actually see it. And that, in that way, you can actually help the other businesses like your local subcontractors. In a way, it's like, they are not your competition. They are,
So you're forming a network kind of where each one feeds into the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Salil. This is, of course, what has happened is we've heard individual experiences, we've heard individual examples, but I'm sure all of us who have been listening on to this will be able to kind of extrapolate the strategy behind it, the thought process behind it, and be able to implement it in our own businesses. Thank you for that, Salil. That brings us to the end of the panel questions. In the brevity of time, I'm quickly going to go on to AF. I'm sure Akshay wouldn't mind me doing this right now. We are coming very close to crossed about 8:15. So I'm going to go to Af because he kind of said there's lots more that he wanted to contribute in terms of the innovation thing. And that is his area of expertise as well. So over to you, Af.
Okay, great. I'm conscious of time because everyone's probably got to eat dinner or, I don't know, have a glass of wine or a whiskey or something. So I won't keep you for long. Firstly, Shaheen's point earlier on, just a bit of fun here. She talked about sizes, people putting on and losing weight. And that was the only time I think we had the most amount of engagement. Everyone was smiling or looking down or shaking their heads, and we had comments. So I've definitely put on weight since the lockdown. And so going back to innovation, I think most of the points have been covered. Again, I'm happy to talk to people after the show. You can drop me a LinkedIn message or whatever, so I don't want to take up people's time. All I'd like to sort of close off with, there's no real, I'm not going to give you a sort of a Masonic message or anything here. All I'm going to say is that there are some really cool technologies that you should also start to look at when it comes to, I'll try and relate to everyone here. So the gentleman who's running the property business, there's a technology called augmented virtual reality that's getting a lot of coverage in bigger companies, and I'm working with a lot of large logistics companies around this. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to see how you can, through virtual means, try and connect the buyer or the customer or the user with an outfit. So if it's property or it's housing or it's real estate, how can you use augmented reality, which is augmented reality is the superimposing another bit of instruction or another graphic on top of an existing flat screen. So whether, TikTok does that really well, many other applications do it really well. It's going to become very much more commonplace and popular after 5G launches in about a year's time. I know it's a year's time, but it's going to fly by really quickly. Start thinking about the use of augmented virtual reality in the demonstration of your product. Garments is the same. Flat screen selling is going to start to become very competitive for Shaheen. And I remember your name because you're talking about weight loss. So, when you're selling your product on Etsy or any of the platforms, Amazon is such a competitive marketplace. They charge so much in commission. You've got to think about some third-party products. Again, separate conversation, happy to discuss this with you, where your garments can be visualized in a 3D fashion. So I can be more in touch with the kind of fabric and the feel of the fabric. You need to create someone said something about emotive experience with your product. You've got to use AR, VR. There's another technology called IoT, Internet of Things. Many people know about this. It's sensors, basically. They're going to be 50 billion sensors by 2025 in the world. Everything will have a sensor. Your Alexa device, your Apple Watch, your laptop has so many already. Your pacemaker will have it, you name it. And so if you're in the business of trying to, in a logistics business, again, physical business, even in entertainment, for example, when it opens up again, and for the gentleman who is in entertainment, by the way, Harshwardhan, there is actually a research study that I'm involved in. It's a global study on the industries that will thrive post-pandemic. I'll try and find you the research paper and send it to you. But entertainment theaters will boom again. They absolutely believe they'll boom again. Cinema experiences will die. So the cinema industry is going through turmoil. I don't think it'll survive it. But theater, there's a desperate need. Human beings are social animals. We have no choice but to connect with each other. Theater, music will revive in a different form factor. Maybe not the same way where you have 10,000 people in an audience, but in different ways. So it's amazing that he's done a $2 a show, which is basically a subscription model. You're basically saying, instead of charging me $2 a show, which is not worth the credit card fees, you're going to charge me $20 a year and I can come to 20 shows, right? But you have the guarantee of the prepayment and you've got me as a customer. I'm not going anywhere now because I want to keep clicking. Hotstar's done the same and the other platforms have done the same. IoT is something, a sensor-based technology that I think is going to be hot. I'm trying to vomit everything on you really quickly. What else is there? I think, the rules of the game have changed. The rules of business has changed. I'm not exaggerating. It's happening at the biggest companies and the smallest companies. As a founder, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a president, business owner, even if you're working for a company, for that matter, you could be working in a technology company or whatever, some corporate organization. You have a responsibility to take ownership of your destiny. Be the creator of your destiny. Don't follow it. And if that means you've got to leave a job because you've got an aspiration to build a company, or go back into employment because unfortunately there's a brutal reality that no one's talked about, I must talk about it. There's a probability, high probability your business might fail. Someone talked about restaurants failing. It's awful. Nothing to do with your management skills or your foresight. It's to do with a factor that's way out of your control. The bubble that's way out of your control is so big and it's so dominating, your control is only that big now. And so you have to unfortunately accept that maybe the timing's not right for you right now. So then you have to regroup, go back, spend a couple of years, earn money again, come back and live your aspiration. So I'm saying things that some of you might feel uncomfortable with, but this is the brutal reality of what we're facing. But always be around to fight another day. So even if it means you've got to take a break for a couple of years, come back again and you will win again. And that's that mental resilience and that mindset is a big part of innovation. Innovation isn't just about new things. It's about new mindset. And I've learned that the hard way. You know, situation isn't rosy for me. I've had to innovate myself in my business. And I've got 17 investors in my company. So I'm accountable to each one of them, including my clients. So I'll stop there, but innovation is pervasive across yourself, your inner you, your external self, the people you work with and your teammates, and the practicalities of new business ideas and models that I've alluded to earlier on. So I'll leave you with that. Otherwise, I will bore you, and you've got better things to do right now. So I'm honored to be on the show.
No, Af, we are almost instantly planning for a completely dedicated session with you on innovation. So there's no absolutely a chance, an iota of truth about you boring us. But at that particular definition, it's kind of a redefinition of innovation, if I may be allowed to say so, when you said, it is not just about doing something new. It could also perhaps be taking a short break, taking a pause, rethinking, and coming back with the first. That's again a paradigm shift when it comes to the definition of innovation.
Absolutely.
That brings us to the end of the 4 questions. I am acutely aware that we've gone way beyond our time, but this was so interesting and fascinating. I had no heart to stop anyone whilst they were having their conversations, and I'm sure the audience would not have loved me for doing that either. There were absolutely pearls to be picked up from these conversations, and I'm sure each one of us has done. After all, it is the collective wisdom of everyone around us that's what evolution is about. That is what survival is about. And that's exactly what we're doing. Without wasting another minute, I'm going to hand over to Ravi so that we can quickly have a look at the questions, if at all. I don't know what his plan is now, but there are also some important announcements coming. So over to you, Ravi.
What I will do is I will go over for the announcement, and Pranoti, if you can do the announcement for the Midland quickly.
Yes, thank you, Ravi. Actually, we have a sort of a Midlands group. We are having an event on 21st of November. But to sort of talk about this event, I invite Nitin Nimbalkar to talk about. And Nitin, if you can take it, and we are looking forward to have all of you there on this event. Nitin, are you there?
I've just unmuted Nitin and put a spotlight on him. He should be visible. Nitin, you can go now.
Quickly,
Nitin, over to you, Nitin.
Can't hear you, Nitin.
He's been unmuted. Nitin, 1 second, I'll ask to unmute again. Yes, Nitin, go on, please.
Can't hear you.
I have unmuted Nitin and also put a spotlight on him, but somehow he's not talking.
Pranoti, can you do that?
So basically, the event is on 21st of November at 2 o'clock. We are inviting people to pitch their businesses. It's going to be showcase as OMPEG has done before. It's just going to be a showcase event. So please do come and get in touch with us. You can get in touch with me or Nitin or any other Midlands group. I'm sure they will put up this is the date, block the date on 2 to 3 p.m. on 21st of November. Get back to us on that. And we want, it's going to be a 5-minute speech for all of you. So get on, and we're going to give it more preference. Of course, this is not just for OMPEG Midland. I mean, sort of, it's not OMPEGians only. Anybody else can come and pitch their business as well. But of course, we will give more priority to OMPEG members, also to OMPEG Midlanders. So please do come and get in touch with us on that. Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you, Pranoti. I think what is happening is we are literally running out of time. It's almost 8:30 now, and people have to go for dinner. And so I'm going to, we are going to skip the question and answer session. That doesn't mean we are not going to answer. We are taking a copy of the entire chat, and we'll be definitely reaching out to the individuals with the questions, and they will come back to you. So on that note, I would like to thank Af and Akshay. Both have given excellent insight into their respective areas of expertise, what they do and what people are been doing and what they can do going into the near future. I would also like to thank all our 5 OMPEG members who are panelists today: Pranoti, Shaheena, Harshwardhan, Salil, and Sanjay Rode. Sanjay Rode especially staying awake in India. We could not hear any firecrackers, but thanks, Sanjay. And thanks to the entire audience. You are very wonderful and contributed to this session and a success of this session. And we will remain in touch. We are given the details of OMPEG membership. So with that, we'll be signing off. Happy Diwali. Stay safe. Thanks and goodbye.
The recording is stopping now. Thank you.